I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and this is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. Here on another Monday, and this Monday happens to be Veterans Day, so as you go about your day today, please remember those people that helped guarantee the freedoms that we hold so dear. Our freedoms would be nothing without those willing to risk their lives to guarantee them. Also, yesterday was the 238th birthday of the United States Marine Corps, so for all you Marines out there, Semper Fi. Now this is going to be a very short Mail Call Monday because it is Veterans Day, it is a holiday. I actually have to work, but my kids don't, so I want to spend a little time with the family before I have to head into work. The rifle in front of me is what I want to talk about real quickly for a second. This is our 260 project, and the components, I'll run down through it real quick. Most notably is the Kinetic Research Group Whiskey 3 chassis here. This is a fully adjustable folding stock chassis. It can also be gotten in fixed stock version. It's a very simple chassis for a switch barrel type setup like we have going on here, because the action is held in by just simply 2 bolts. There's nothing on top that we have to disassemble and monkey around with. So we can drop 2 action screws, pull the action out, screw the barrel off, screw the new one on, 2 screws, and have it back in. It's a very quick setup to pull the action out and drop it back in. The action that we are using is from our original budget precision build. We went ahead and stripped that down and took the action out of it. One of the reasons I wanted to do that is because it is the most modern of these 700 actions that I have on our test rifles here, and it is an AAC SD Remington collaboration, so the AAC 260 barrel I thought was a good match for it. That brings us to the barrel. The barrel is a pre-fit barrel. It's totally finished out, finished chambered and everything at the factory before it comes to you. It is what AAC calls their medium profile barrel. So back here towards the chamber area, it's actually considerably thicker than a Remington varmint, but as you come out here to the muzzle, it's quite a bit thinner than a Remington varmint. So it really has a severe taper from chamber to crown. However, I still think it's going to have enough meat up here to hang a suppressor off of it without any problems, without any considerable sag. Because really, you've got a lot of meat back here where you need it, where all that heat's going to be, and out here where the barrel's going to be cooler, not so much. So it's a really nice profile, and once you got everything together and we get this thing out, it actually balances fairly well, so it's not really muzzle heavy. We have the original Weaver scope base that we had from the Budget Precision project. We just screwed that back on there. We have a spur mount and a Bushnell XRS 4.5 to 30 power rifle scope. Really liking the scope. It has the Horus H59 reticle in it, and I have not been a fan of previous Horus reticles. This reticle I do really like, and we are close to the final review on the Bushnell XRS. I can tell you though, it's going to be a very favorable review. I've really enjoyed working with this scope. Lastly, we have the Atlas bipod on the bottom of here, bringing everything together. We put the system together and we shot the load workup for it, and we were getting some really promising groups on the load workup. Now the AAC 260 barrel is a pre-fit barrel. It's totally finished at the factory, so there's no finish reaming to be done. You set the headspace by the dimensions of the recoil lug here. The barrel is nitrided, so it's very hard surface. They don't recommend you use any reamers or anything on it because it possibly could damage the tooling. I'm not a machinist by trade, so I don't know how difficult it is to machine nitrided parts, but I'm going to follow their recommendations. So what we did to throw this together is we just grabbed an old recoil lug that we had from another Remington that's stripped down and it's going to head out for something else, and we measured that, threw it together, checked the headspace with it, and we ended up having to remove some material from the lug to get it to headspace. If the barrel, or if the bolt will close on a no-go gauge, then that means your lug needs to be thinner. If it will not close on a go gauge, then your recoil lug needs to be fatter. So that's how you go about that. And you can order recoil lugs in larger than Remington factory dimensions from Brownells, from Midway, from a bunch of different locations. thinner than factory dimensions are kind of hard. Those are something that you have to custom find. So we grabbed this lug. It needed to be thinned out a little bit. So we contacted a buddy of ours that has some access to a surface grinder, and we asked him to get a lug ground for us to the correct dimensions to headspace with this receiver and this barrel. But we also wanted to see how well it would work for you guys that don't have access to that or don't want to spend money on a machine shop to grind a lug for you. So we took this old lug and we grabbed a piece of 400 grit sandpaper and we sat down on a flat plate and we just did a little bit of hand surfacing and took off the 4/1000ths that we needed to get it to headspace with this setup. Now this is not the most accurate way to do it. You can get a little bit of variance from side to side because your hand may be rocking as you go through the motions of sanding it down. But I really just wanted to see how well it would work, and I'm impatient. I wanted to get this project on the way. So we've actually, when we shot the load workup, we got some decent groups with the hand ground lug in there. I'm going to be real interested to see when we get the machine surfaced lug back and we drop it in there if we get any increase in accuracy. If so, we'll report that when we do the final wrap up on it. But overall, if you have a Remington 700 laying around and you can get one of these 260 barrels, this is definitely accurate enough to be a hunting rig with no problems whatsoever. It looks like it's going to turn in sub-minute angle accuracy when we get done with our final load and we actually do some accuracy testing on some 5-shot groups. We'll come back and report to you what we got there. Overall, for less than 200 bucks though, this is an exceptional deal in a barrel. I'm really sad to see that they've been discontinued, they've been closed out, and you really can't find them anywhere. If you want a fast twist 308 or a 300 blackout, AAC still has those barrels floating around. You can buy them on Midway, so those are an option if you want a 300 blackout or fast twist 308. 260 barrels though, they kind of disappeared. So that's all for the update on the 260 project. I didn't want to leave you guys without anything to watch on Veterans Day, but we're going to cut this short so I can go out and I can enjoy the holiday. But if you liked our video, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot!